Efed Podcast, the podcast exploring our fantasy wrestling hobby, where the wrestling is written, but the characters are real. I'm your host, Mikey Unlikely, and I'd like to thank you for joining us here on the Atomic Dropcast Network. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for episode 56 of the Efed Podcast. So excited you decided to join us, and we've got a crazy good show today. We've got Chris the Boss Ross on the show today, handler of many characters, as well as himself. You can check him out on YouTube over at Chris the Dice Maniac. Of course, I have to put a disclaimer on the episode, as most people would expect with Chris on the show. There is a swearing disclaimer. This is not one you want to listen to with children around. I'll tell you that first and foremost. And be ready for some fun stuff in the interview, because it gets a little shocking at times. We've also got the conclusion of the Top 100 Countdown. Excited to bring you the Top 10 this week. And if you joined us Sunday night, we had a blast going over the Top 10 and talking to everybody about it. This has been a great adventure doing this Top 100 Countdown. I'm excited for everyone and want to thank everyone who's voted, participated, who won and was excited about it. This has been it's a good time, and we're looking forward to doing it again next year in 2021. It helped raise the profile of the Efed Podcast, and we appreciate our new listeners thanks to the Top 100. All right, guys, let's get excited. Let's get ready for the show. Before we do, of course, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors, but if you want to get in touch with the show, the best way to do that is over at the Twitter machine at the Efed Podcast. Right there in the profile, we do have a link to get in our Discord. That's where you can come hang out. It's our little Efed community with about 200 Efeders now. Fed heads, characters, members. We got everything in there. We've got sponsors. It's a great time, and it's a great place for everybody from every corner of the game to come together and hang out. And of course, we've got the Patreon over at patreon.com/Efed Podcast. Yes, we are a free show that comes out each and every Tuesday. But if you want to catch the show early or ad-free, you can check it out over at patreon.com/Efed Podcast. We've got some other perks as well, some Discord perks, as well as being able to hang out with us for the bad graps and getting things early, such as the videos that we've produced. And don't forget to check out EWTs, your number one source for Efed merchandise. Whether you want a t-shirt for you, your character, your tag team, your stable, your Fed, whatever, we've got t-shirts, great quality, fast delivery. EFedTees.com, EWTs, EWmerch.com, it doesn't matter. It's all going to get you to the same place. And we'd be happy to have you as a customer. We've got many, many customers with many testimonials. So stop on over now, EWTs.com. Whether you have graphics or not, we can help you out. Fill out the little form under Want a T-shirt, and we'll get you hooked up.
Occupy Pro Wrestling, putting the smart back into smart mark since 2012 as we grapple with design and media services for wrestlers, promotions, and podcasters. We strive to enjoy pro wrestling in our community and podcast, centered around interviews with wrestlers and fans alike. If you like what you see and hear, check out the central hub for everything we're doing and the latest from our site partners over at occupyprowrestling.com.
All right, guys, the Efed Podcast is very happy to announce its brand new partnership over on Facebook with the Social Media Wrestling Association. The Social Media Wrestling Association, along with its 16,000 member strong influence page known as Generational Wrestling Society, has proven to be the true revolutionary Efed company of Facebook. The SWA welcomes written, video, and audio promos for its talent, as well as results provided in live 2K audio commentary and written results. The SWA is more than just an Efed. With GWS, all areas of the wrestling community are covered. From belt collectors, wrestling news, trivia, and podcasts, and Efeds. Check them out on Facebook at Social Media Wrestling Association and Generational Wrestling Society. You can give a search for both. Once you join both, you'll be glad to become associated with the society. And we're going to be posting our show on Facebook exclusively on the SWA and GWS sites. And we're very happy to have announced this partnership with the SWA, and you can hear about it here every week. So guys, go check them out. Social Media Wrestling Association on Facebook.
Defiance, an angle fed boasting 8 years of continuous fantasy wrestling. Defiance offers opportunities for original characters, micros, a standalone website utilizing Backstage 3 script, and a forum hosted on the long-running fwrestling.com, as well as a roster full of some of the most experienced writers in the game. Come see for yourself at defiancewrestling.com. That's defiancewrestling.com.
Hey guys, are you digging this podcast? Well, we really appreciate it. I'd also appreciate it if you check out my other podcast. The Atomic Dropcast is a look back at the wrestling of yesteryear through adult eyes. We watch the wrestling that we watched as kids, as adults, with a couple of beers in our hands. It's a great time. Check it out over at atomicdropcast.com. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
OCW Fed is a hybrid pro wrestling eFed that combines elements of role play and competitive play using the WWE 2K franchise. Whether you're on PlayStation or Xbox, OCW Fed is a creative outlet for gamers and pro wrestling fans alike. With over 16 years experience producing weekly content and live Twitch events, OCW Fed has a thriving community with handlers from all over the world. If this sounds like your cup of tea, come check us out at OCWFed.com, OCW Fed TV on YouTube, and OCW Fed on Twitch. It's like D&D for wrestling nerds.
Hey everybody, it's Mikey. No, we're not back to the show just yet. First, I want to tell you about my Patreon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh no, am I going to have to pay for the podcast? No. The answer is emphatically no. The show has been and forever will be free. No, Brunk, you will not have to pay for the podcast. However, we have been asked by a handful of people how they can help support the show. And we've also been asked, mostly by Fuzz, why we didn't have a Patreon yet. And I quote, "You stupid I can't believe you don't have a Patreon. I will hurt you if you don't take my money now." End quote. That was Fuzz. He's a scary dude. So with that in mind, you can find us at patreon.com/efedpodcast. Contributions start as low as $3 a month. Thank you very much for your consideration. All right, that's going to bring us to our top 100 countdown segment. Guys, get ready. We've already counted down 100 through 11. And congratulations to everyone who's made the list thus far. We're excited today to bring you the top 10. Now, keep in mind the winner of the contest, number 1, the most popular character in eFedding, does have the opportunity to cash in on a free t-shirt design over at efedtees.com. Of their choosing, whether they have a design, we can do the free setup, or we can do the free design for them. For everyone else, please check out efedtees.com, your number one source for eFed merchandise and sponsor of the top 100. All right, we're going to get going with the top 10 countdown. I'm excited to bring it to you guys. This has been a blast. 1,900 votes, 850 characters voted for over 1 week. It was a great time, and the Twitter feedback has been hilarious. We love it. Keep it coming. We appreciate everyone who's talking about the top 100. It is blowing up the Twitter world, and we're excited to hear about it. So without further ado, the top 10 of the eFed podcast. If you checked us out on Sunday night, we actually talked to some of these people in person and got their reactions to what was going on in their minds when they were announced for the top 10. Coming in at number 10, you can find him on Twitter at Paragon Kale. It's Max Kale of High Octane Wrestling. Congratulations to Max Kale for making the top 10. Coming in at number 9, you can catch him over at defiancewrestling.com. We're excited to have him on the list. He's already made it a couple times with a different character. It is Connor Fuse. Shout out to Roland. Coming in at number 8, he's a man who's on a hiatus, but he had a huge 2020 earlier in the year. A man who got a ton of votes. You can find him on Twitter at C Farthington. It's Cecilworth Farthington. Shout out to Colin. I believe he's mentioned in the interview later. Coming in at number 7. He's a man over at High Octane Wrestling. Dan Ryan, the Ego Buster. He can be found on Twitter at RP Dan Ryan. Congratulations for making number 7 on the Top 100 Countdown. Coming in at number 6. Having a big year with his huge comeback in 2020. Becoming a High Octane Wrestling Tag Team Champion, and now over at DefianceWrestling.com as well. Kendricks, Jesse Fredericks Kendricks. You can find him on Twitter at JFK_Kendricks, one half of the Hollywood Bros. Rolling in at number 5 on the Top 100 Countdown. A guy who helped promote it big time. Excited to have him on the list. Eric Dane. Shout out to Justin. You can find him on Twitter at OnlyStarDEF. Coming up at number 4 on the Top 100 Countdown. You can find him over at High Octane Wrestling. Mike Best. And you can find him also on Twitter at HOF Mike Best. All right, coming up next, number 3 on the Top 100 Countdown. Also making a huge comeback in 2020, Kale Murray. Shout out to Murr. You can find him over on Twitter at Kale Murray. Cayle Murray. All right, top 2. Here we go. Coming in at number 2. One of the biggest people in the Efed podcast Discord. Big help to me and Brian, and a good promoter of the show. Fuzz rolling in at number 2 on the Top 100 Countdown. You can find him on Twitter at Sean_Warstein. Shout out to Fuzz. Excited to have him on the list at number 2. And that brings us to number 1. If you haven't figured it out already, number 1 on the Efed podcast, Top 100, and this year's winner of the Top 100, the Queen of the Ring, Lindsay Troy. You can find her on Twitter at HailTheQueenLT. Congratulations to Linz and winning with Lindsay Troy. Congratulations to everyone who made the top 10 and the top 100 countdown. This was a blast for me, for Brian, and for the show. It was great promotion, and we are so excited for everyone that made the list. I've learned about new wrestlers that I'd never even heard of. I've learned about new circles. People who wanted to make the list but just missed were very excited and are eager to make their mark in 2021. So we'll see what happens, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for voting. This was a blast, and we're looking forward to doing more contests like it soon. Who knows what's next? Welcome back to another edition of the Efed Podcast interview series. Today I'm joined by an old friend and actually the first person I ever met in person in Efedding. So I'm excited to bring on the show Chris Ross. He is the handler behind characters I was familiar with, like Lisil Jackson, Chris the Boss Ross, David Hightower, and now he's running characters over in Five Boroughs Wrestling, such as Amber Rockwell, Tessa Whitmoyer, Katie Powell, and Rachel Faust. Chris, how are you doing today? Thanks for joining the show.
Well, it's about damn time you have me on your show. I mean, for God's sake, you have people like Eric Dane stinking your show up, yet you saved me for December? Come on, man.
You're the Christmas special that keeps on giving.
Well, my name's Chris for a reason.
Chris, thanks so much for coming on, buddy. How are you?
Getting by somehow with how much of a dumpster fire this year's been.
It's almost over, though. We'll see what happens next year.
Oh, please. That's when the alien invasion will probably come.
I'm ready, man. I got my space gear. I'm going to join the Space Force and see what happens.
Oh, geez. It's going to be like that scene from from Independence Day where everyone's staying on the rooftops.
There you go. I'm ready. Is Barney Dog going to be able to get up on the roof?
I'll figure something out.
We're going to talk about Barney Dog and much, much more today. Chris, let's start at the very beginning. When did you become a fan of professional wrestling?
Oh, dear Jesus, dude. We're dating back to probably when I was in diapers, man. You can thank I don't have an exact date, but I can tell you right now, this is dating back to the early 90s when everyone had some sort of goofy gimmick going on.
Your parents watched it.
Well, my dad did. My mom thinks pro wrestling is a product of Satan. I remember specifically watching pro wrestling with my dad, and, you remember good old Bam Bam Bigelow, that big motherfucker with the flames covering his body.
Absolutely. He was very intimidating.
Yeah, my dad, I remember I was at my grandma's house, and I was watching pro wrestling, and Bam Bam Bigelow was on TV. My dad, he turned to me and was like, "Hey, boy, you see that there fella? You better brush your teeth every night or else you're going to end up looking like him."
Did you brush your teeth?
Yeah, and then Isaac Yankem DDS became a thing, and I'm like, what the hell is that guy's issue?
So when you first got into wrestling, you got into it because of your dad?
Yeah, my dad, he basically got me into wrestling, and he always told me about like a lot of the old wrestlers from back in his day.
So who were some of his favorite wrestlers?
I know one name he brought up was Haystacks Calhoun.
Ooh, a big boy, yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, because, when I got into wrestling, it was literally around the time Andre the Giant passed away.
Okay. So early 90s, yeah.
Yeah, so I was asking my dad, who was Andre the Giant? What was his story? And my dad, he basically told me how he was this big gargantuan motherfucker. He was like an unstoppable juggernaut and everything. And then I was like, wow, he's like the heaviest wrestler ever. And he's like, no, that's easily Haystack Calhoun.
And so obviously he left an impression on your dad. But what about you when you first got into wrestling? Who were you into?
What, my favorite wrestler back then?
Yeah, when you were a kid, who caught your eye first? Like, who were the people that you were rooting for?
Okay, well, I want to say the very first wrestler that I actually grew a distinct favorite for, and this is probably going to be an unorthodox answer, but I think it was the 1-2-3 Kid.
Nice. I like that answer. It is unorthodox. It's not one we've heard before.
Because I remember sitting there in my living room watching Razor Ramon versus he wasn't even the 1-2-3 Kid. He was literally just the Kid.
The Lightning Kid, I think.
No, literally just the Kid.
And that's when he hits the moonsault for the win.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sitting here like, oh my God, who the hell is this guy that they're going to feed to Razor Ramon? Because Razor Ramon, other than losing to the top wrestlers, he was a guy that was practically untouchable.
Yeah, he was getting pushed. He was a big guy, and this is the time where they had jobber matches most Mondays.
Yeah, and so for then, the 1-2-3 Kid out of nowhere pulls off that moonsault and beats Razor Ramon. I was like, holy fuck, what just happened?
This was the first time, you lost your mind. You marked out, and you're like, oh my God. And then Razor chases him around the ring. Are you rooting for him to get away?
Oh my God, yes. It's like, I remember Macho Man going absolutely ballistic saying, you lost. He got you, man.
That's when Macho was on commentary. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's good stuff. So what about as you got older and got more into wrestling, who were your favorites?
Well, let's be honest here, Mikey. If we're going into like the Attitude Era, we all love The Rock, Stone Cold, The Undertaker.
D'Lo Brown.
Yeah, well, D'Lo. Well, you know what? I actually did like D'Lo Brown, so favorite, I can't argue with you there. I actually used him as a pick base for one of my characters at one point. Well, I'll go into that detail later. But
please tell me it's Lisil. We'll get there later.
No, but anyway. But if you want to talk about wrestlers that, I would say are more on the unorthodox side, like you with D'Lo Brown, Steve Blackman was was definitely a favorite of mine.
The Lethal Weapon.
Yes, and he's one of the he's more where I live in Harrisburg. He's actually a bit of a celebrity around here.
Oh yeah, before he was in wrestling or because of wrestling?
Well, pretty much because of wrestling, but he lives in Anvil, which is a stone's throw away. And matter of fact, when I was working at the casino I was working at, I seen him there all the time.
Is he gambling?
He mainly likes to do horse racing.
Okay. So if anybody sees Steve out there, make sure you give him the best bets for the horses.
I also can confirm his wife is smoking hot.
Nice. Well, if you're a Lethal Weapon, who's going to mess with you?
Yeah, well, one time I was, I'm security at this casino. One time, stopped him and said, "Sir, we can't allow dangerous weapons into the casino."
The sad thing is, I'm sure he gets that a lot. Maybe not the exact way you phrased it, but I'm sure he gets. Because if he's a celebrity, everyone knows who he is. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir."
Well,
leave your weapons outside.
Yeah, it's more like It's more like he's a guy that has such a reputation. Nobody wants to fuck with him. Yep,
you're not wrong. I don't. So, Steve Blackman was a big fan. You're a big fan of The Rock, Austin, and let's do the Mount Rushmore game then. Who's on your Mount Rushmore? Top 4 all time.
Of all time? You mean throughout all of wrestling, or just a certain era?
All of your fandom.
Of all time. Well, I mean, if we're talking about wrestling in general, we gotta have.
Don't put up anybody who you feel like should be up there unless that you're a fan of them. Like, so I would put D'Lo Brown and RVD on mine.
Okay.
So your all-time favorite wrestlers. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
I'd put Blackman up there. I'd put I'm probably gonna have the most what the fuck Mount Rushmore ever.
That's all right. Bring it on. Stevie's up there.
Yeah, Steve Blackman, definitely. Now, you're going to notice a bit of a trend here. I'd actually be willing to put Aleister Black up there.
Nice. You like the kicks.
I put him, I'd put Aleister Black, and you know what? I'd put Booker T up there.
Nice.
And, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'll put Sean Waltman up there as well.
The 1, 2, 3 Kid.
X-Pac, 1, 2, 3 Kid, 6, whatever you want to call them.
That's a hell of a group. We got Steve Blackman, we got X-Pac, we got Booker T, and who was the last one?
Aleister Black.
Aleister Black. There you go. That's a hell of Mount Rushmore, Chris.
That's the one, yeah. And I guess the one thing about me is that I always like the more hybrid wrestlers. The ones that came in with like the more flashier martial arts styles.
Well, it's more realistic for someone like that to fight. So I'm with it. I like that stuff. I like Brock Lesnar coming from MMA and all that stuff. Well, so I'm into it.
Even though Lesnar, he's realistic, but yet he has like 3 moves.
Well, get in there, Chris, and see if you can get him to do more than 3.
Well, I think I'll tell you what. I think my opening move would be kick him in the balls, and if that doesn't work, my second move would be to run and fucking scream like I'm Homer Simpson.
Oh yeah, I'm not getting in there with Brock anytime soon. He would do all 3 of those moves without any problem.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we got into your favorite wrestling. You were obviously a WWF guy the whole time, right?
It's not that I had anything against WCW. It's more the fact that, WCW was, I guess, Russo. Let's just be honest here. Vince Russo, he fucked everything up in WCW.
By the time you even were aware of what WCW was, it was the Vince Russo era. And so obviously,
I was around for the Goldberg era and the NWO, but after a while it was exhausting to keep track of.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, tell us how you got into e-wrestling. How'd you find the weird, wacky world?
I find myself being in a unique position in the e-fetting community because most people, they find their way into e-fetting through either someone they know or a friend, or they have a certain clique that they hang out with or something like that. I fucking stumbled into this goddamn hobby by pure accident.
And how was that?
Well, we're dating back to the original WWF SmackDown game for the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
And I found a link to an eFed on some video game forum.
Okay. That makes sense. You know, a lot of times I'm talking to people, they found e-wrestling because they were just searching wrestling games online or something like that. They were looking for a video game, and they came across e-wrestling. So it's very similar.
Yeah, I was literally just looking for, information about the upcoming SmackDown game because, at the time that had all the hype around it because, the only other wrestling game previous to that was WWF Attitude.
Is this GameFAQs or is this something else?
I don't even remember the forum, to be perfectly honest with you.
Just wondering, because I know a lot of people found it that way, and I was wondering if maybe you stumbled on the same thing, because I know that was a big video game forum that I was on online back in the day, not for the same reasons, but...
Oh, dude, we're going back like fucking 10, 15 years, man. I can barely remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
Well, talk about when you found e-wrestling, you stumbled into it, and when you joined up, is this a real wrestler fed, or is this one where you have to create a new character?
It was a mix.
Okay, and what did you do?
Well, I pretty much went in there with my pants around my ankles, basically having no fucking idea what I'm doing, no experience, never role played a day in my life, and I basically came up with a character called the Rookie, and you know what? I'm basically embarrassed to even talk about this character.
We've all been there. We all had that one character. I'm sure your first promos were awful too.
Oh, dear Jesus. I didn't even realize it at the time. I fucking ripped off Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
Oh, yeah? How was that?
Because I made him the MVP, the most violent player.
Oh, yep.
And I didn't even fucking know about Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
Well, you made this, and what year is this roughly?
Oh, my God, dude. This was like... Well, like I said, it was around when the first SmackDown game came out. Not even...
Which system, PlayStation 1 or 2?
No, for PlayStation 1.
Yeah, so it's a while ago. It's late 90s, probably.
Yeah, late 90s. Yeah, it was around the Attitude Era, for sure.
Okay, so 96, 97-ish, you stumble upon eFeds, and you get into this stuff. And you first cut your teeth as the Rookie. Obviously, that didn't go too well because you don't have very fond memories of it. What happened next?
Well, after that Fed shut down, one of the guys that was within that Fed decided to open a Fed and invited me in. Now, this is after, I've learned a lot and, decided to absorb some knowledge. So going into the new Fed was sort of a clean slate for me, and I want to say that was around the time I actually hit my stride as an E-Fedder.
Okay.
So I came in with a new character, Chris Kamikaze.
Okay. And
for the record, this was back when where misspelling names was cool.
You got a bunch of Z's in there?
No, it was KRISKAMIKAZI.
I remember the era. Everybody was doing the Z's and the backwards spelling. I wrote Wicked a weird way. It was all... The 90s were a fun time.
Yeah, and this was back when everyone was using Angel Fire, GeoCities, and all those forums.
The golden age.
Yeah. Back when pretty much anyone with a basic knowledge of how to turn a computer on could run a Fed.
Yeah, man, I cut my teeth in GeoCities at first, too, so I get it. Did you achieve any success in that Fed?
This was the ECF, and that was the Fed where I actually held every single championship belt. I was their first ever Grand Slam champion.
That's awesome. That's a great accomplishment to achieve in like your second Fed ever.
Yeah, and that was over a course of, I want to say, maybe 2, maybe 3 years.
So you had a really good run. You were there for a while.
Yeah, I had a good run. I had a good run, and it extended basically into when I started high school. Granted, the guy who ran the Fed was a total pothead, so eventually I think his marijuana addiction took over and the Fed sort of fizzled out.
Yeah, after 2 or 3 years, that's a pretty good run, so who knows?
Yeah, and now during the end of the ECF, I joined another Fed called the WFW.
Okay.
And I basically ran a tag team there.
Your first time handling multiple characters?
I'd say that was probably my first time. And in the WFW, in the ECF, Chris Kamikaze, by the way, D'Lo Brown was his pick base.
Nice. That's the one you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, D'Lo Brown was his pick base. His name was Chris Big Time Kamikaze. You know what time it is. The only time that matters, big time.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can see my creative process was churning, during this time.
Yeah.
However, when I joined the WFW, I wanted to do something different. And that's when, I think something in my brain might have broke or something, some wires got snapped somewhere. And don't even begin to ask me what possessed me to even try this. But I came up with a tag team called the Drifters.
Okay.
A garbage man and a priest as a tag team.
That's an interesting combo.
Yeah. It was probably the most what the fuck tag team in e-wrestling history, but yet somehow I managed to hold on to the tag belts for over a year.
That's awesome, man.
And even and that includes defeating their top stable, where the head of the stable was so pissed.
So you had a great run over there, long-time tag team champion. You won.
As a matter of fact, if you want to get technical, I never lost those belts. He had to literally have me lose just because it's like, okay, you held the belts long enough. Can we just let someone else have them?
He angled them off you?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So what happened next?
Now, that's where things get a little fuzzy. So I'm kind of going to jump ahead in the timeline because in between, after the WFW to my next notable destination, that's where, all those garbage feds in between, come in that basically don't matter and aren't even worth mentioning, Yeah,
we all had less memorable runs too, so.
Yeah, the next notable run I'd say was probably the BACW.
Okay.
Which is where some of the people that came from. Like the Spectre.
Nice, Todd.
Yeah, the Spectre. Well, it's more or less the BACW/NEWA.
Oh, with Justin Taylor and Mike Bell and a whole bunch of guys went through there. Yeah,
that whole cast of characters. But the NEWA, at the time I first joined, it was just the BACW before they merged with the whole NEWA.
Okay.
So I joined, and this was basically, back when I wasn't even trying to be overly creative. I was basically Chris Ross.
The first incarnation of the boss.
Well, this is sort of like based off of... This is a different Chris Ross altogether, not the Keystone State Killer that you know.
You broke the golden rule. Don't use your real name.
Yeah, well, from what I've seen, a lot of people broke that rule.
A lot of people. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say. But anyway, I mean, the first incarnation was basically this cocky young Hawaiian shirt-wearing motherfucker from Hawaii. Basically, he was just an unstoppable Hawaiian monster that basically was the biggest pain in the ass to Mr. Batee. And slowly, as things progress... Now, do keep in mind...
It sounds like the same Chris Ross I know.
Well, here's the thing. Between when I graduated high school and when I had to move out, I basically had to take a leave from e-fedding altogether.
Sure.
So I basically had to take a leave from e-fedding, but once, I moved back, I got moved into the place I'm at now and, actually got some internet hooked up. It was like about a year, maybe a year and a half later, that's when I decided to get back into e-fedding, and that's when I got. I don't think I returned to BACW. I basically returned. Yeah, I returned to this godforsaken place called the CZW, which, before you ask, yes, it stood for Combat Zone Wrestling, and yes, they actually used the same CZW logo, which, in hindsight, that should have raised a red flag right away.
You should know, you're from the same state CZW's in.
Oh, don't remind me.
or was. I guess they're in Delaware now.
Oh, who the fuck knows, man? They move around so much. Last time I checked, the ECW place is now a freaking bingo hall.
It's being auctioned off or something. I don't know.
Oh, who knows? But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, you came back.
But anyway, I came to this CZW place. Now, I'm not gonna shit on the talent that they had there. The talent was actually pretty legit, and some of which actually went to the NEWA at one point.
Okay.
Now,
but you are gonna shit on.
I'm going to shit on the people that were in that fucking Fed, because there's this one motherfucker named Alan Fiskus over there who's by far the biggest piece of trash I've ever met in my fucking life. And if I ever see him in real life, I'm going to fucking beat the shit out of him. Because let me tell you.
Tell me, Chris.
Now, at this time, during this period of time, my 12-year-old cousin was killed riding his bike when he got hit by a van.
Sorry to hear that, buddy.
And this son of a bitch, when I told him I needed time off, naturally I was emotionally distraught. Who the fuck wouldn't be? He basically said, and I quote, "How the fuck long does it take to throw some kid into a grave and throw dirt on top?"
Yeah, that's a little out of line.
I fucking snapped. And I'm not going to lie to you, I straight up told the guy, "I hope you die in a car accident." And you know what? To this fucking day, I refuse to apologize for that.
Well, after you left that Fed, clearly.
I not so much left as I think they threw me out.
Yeah.
So I left that Fed. I came back to the BACW, which at this point, the BACW was merged with the NEWA.
Okay, now it's part of NEWA.
Yeah, they have the whole inter-Fed thing going on, and they have like not only BACW championships, but they had NEWA championships. I mean, it got kind of confusing after a while. It was
like the old NWA style, where each territory had their own titles, but then there was a giant territorial title as well.
Yeah, like, there was the NEWA championship. There was like the NEWA hardcore belt, the NEWA, I think there was like a mid-tier title, like a TV championship or something or other, intercontinental, something like that. You get the idea.
Yeah. And how did you fare over there?
Well, in the BACW, this is where the Chris Ross character really took off, because I turned him into the Hawaiian phenomenon. And basically, that's where his catchphrase, "The name is Chris Ross, don't you forget it," came from.
So you kind of combined your two previous characters. The Hawaiian character and Chris Ross.
Well, Chris Ross was the Hawaiian character at the time, but yeah. And basically, at the time, Mr. Batiste, he did something that pissed my character off to no end. Where basically, what happened was there was a big scaffold match between Ross and the Spectre.
Okay.
And now this other character named Mike Barnes came in. And this was for the BACW Heavyweight Championship. Well, Mike Barnes decided to fuck with the scaffolding before the match, and the whole fucking thing collapsed.
During your match, or
yes,
yeah, okay.
During the match, and the whole thing got thrown out, and it was a clusterfuck, and holy shit, and you get the picture.
Yeah.
So my character naturally was pissed off because, his title shot went to waste because I won it in one of those briefcase deals.
Okay.
And, Mr. Batiste is like, here's the way I was looking at it. It's like, okay, so the Spectre, he's pissed. I don't get why. It's not like he lost his belt. and to top it off, someone's manager came out, and the whole entire fucking structure fell on him. Yeah, so naturally the manager's wrestler's pissed, which I can't blame him, but then again, no one told the manager to come out. I'm literally the only one who got screwed in this deal.
And so how do you deal with it?
Mr. Batiste, so basically my character went to Mr. Batiste's office, and basically Batiste told him, "You lost, get over it." So Chris Ross, with his rational sense of thinking, decided, okay, fine, I'm skipping the next show.
Oh, snap.
And that's when things got turned sideways, as Ross decided to break into Mr. Batiste's house and beat the living shit out of his wife. And literally shot her in the face with a staple gun.
My God, very American Psycho of you, Chris.
Yeah, so... yeah, and that was the reaction to this whole entire series of events was, oh my God, what the fuck?
I can imagine that would be the reaction.
And it was one of the best storylines I've ever been involved in, because, the next episode, there was Mr. Batiste crying in front of his wife, who's now covered in the hospital, practically in a coma. Covered in bandages, practically looking like a mummy.
And you still don't think today you go too far.
You're noticing a trend here.
I do, buddy. It's fantasy wrestling for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Real life sucks. I'd be playing The Sims right now if I wanted to fucking do real life.
So you beat up his wife and hit her with staple guns. What happens next?
Well, that's when things got a little cloudy, because I had to take another leave of absence. Because, real life happens and shit. But eventually, when I came back to the BACW, and that's when Chris Ross won his first BACW championship. And that was when the Spectre had this thing called the curse going on.
Okay.
Yeah, the curse, where pretty much if you manage to beat the Spectre, you're immediately going to lose the title. And that's literally what happened to anyone that managed to win the belt off of the Spectre. They immediately lost the title like a week later. So Ross, he stormed in, beat the fuck out of the Spectre, put him through a table, and then he literally shaved the Spectre's head.
And then you lost the belt a week later.
Nope, I fucking said, fuck you and fuck your damn curse. Here's your hair, motherfucker. I'm keeping it in a trophy case.
Nice.
So yeah, Ross is the one who actually beat the curse, and the Spectre, Todd, he can actually confirm that. So yeah, I held that championship for a while, but then, real life left, came back to the VACW, and that's when I won my second championship,
okay,
world title, and there's a hilarious story involved with this one.
Hit me.
Now, the guy who held the belt, I for the life of me can't remember what his name was. But you know who you are if you're listening to this. He was taking a leave. Now, I won the belt. Well, not won the belt, but I won another briefcase in one of those deals. And I basically was talking to the guy because he had a storyline going on where his character was terminally ill, okay. And his character basically was going to die, and he was raring up to take a leave to go to college. So me and him were discussing, and then the match got booked between Ross and this character. Now, the storyline that happened was the character died during the week.
The character died?
Yeah, his character died during the week. So my character, instead of the match, they're going to hold a funeral in the ring for this character. Now, bear in mind, my character had a briefcase. So, it's
don't tell me you pinned the dead character.
So,
Chris.
So in the middle of this funeral, it's all emotional. They have the 10-bell salute, and the character's wife and his kids are there. Everyone's crying. Then over the loudspeakers, the name is Chris Ross. Don't you forget it. And Phenomenon by 1,000-Foot Crutch starts playing, and here comes my character with the fucking briefcase.
Oh, no. And you pinned the dead champion.
I pinned the coffin and won the belt.
My God, Chris. Savage.
And the funny thing is, when I was talking to him I was just joking with him. I was like, dude, I should just have my character pin the coffin and win the belt. And he's like, oh my God, dude, that's brilliant. And I told Mr. Batty about that, and I think he busted a nut laughing about it.
I'm a little speechless on that one.
Yeah, I don't think that would fly in this day and age.
I don't think so, buddy.
Oh, Lord.
So after you beat the dead champion, what happened next?
Well, that's when my character really became unstoppable, because not only did I win that belt, Mr. Batty basically made a huge mistake, because Batty's like, oh my God, Chris Ross is my champion. This guy is going to kill my company. Because Ross was making all these ridiculous demands. He had to negotiate a new contract that was completely bloated and overpriced, or else he was going to leave with the company's belt. And basically, that was when Batty was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start throwing the other champions at Ross to get the belt off of him.
Okay.
And eventually Ross was holding 3 championships.
Damn. It was like title for title situations.
Pretty much it was like, next thing you know, they threw the BACW hardcore champion at me. I beat him. Then they threw the NEWA Intercontinental champion at me. I fucking beat him as well. And, right when I was pretty much raring up to go for the NEWA world title, I fucking quit.
Really?
And let me tell you why. Because Mr. Batty basically the one day he created results that were basically 2 paragraphs long and not even worth role-playing for. And I basically told Mr. Batty, what the fuck is this horse shit? And he basically told me, deal with it or quit, and I fucking quit. It's like, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm not going to waste my talents here if this is the kind of shit you're going to pull.
Taking your talents to South Beach.
I fucking bounced. I was out of there like a drug deal gone bad. And by the way, Mr. Batty, I'll go on record and say he's one of the biggest alcoholics I've ever encountered in e-fedding. That dickhead would fucking message me on AOL Instant Messenger at like 2 a.m, drunk off his ass, basically asking me shit like, do you know how to get red wine stains out of a white carpet? It's like, dude, I'm 16. What the fuck do I know about alcohol?
Now, instead of that, you get drunk calls from me in Chicago.
Yeah, well, you're cool.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. So, Mr. Batty and you are a done deal.
I haven't talked to that fuckhead in years. I don't even know if he's still alive or what.
Or if he's in the casket. So,
well,
where in this weird world did you go next?
That's when I went to one of my other biggest mistakes.
Oh.
Skyfall Wrestling Alliance. 2 years of my life I'm never getting back.
Why is that?
Oh my God, where do I even fucking start? The place was ran by this bitch named Misty Rayburn, and you want to talk about the definition of a narcissist? Look no further. And she handled like 32 characters. I don't even think I'm exaggerating when I say that.
Okay.
And however, when I joined the SWA, that was when I basically retired that version of the Chris Ross character. I basically figured, you know what? I held 3 belts in in the Fed. I went out on top as far as I'm concerned, so I'm retiring him. So that's when I came up with Rosman Ballard, this angry video game World of Warcraft nerd. Yeah, so I came up with him, and actually in that Fed, I handled 3 characters.
Okay.
I handled
simultaneously.
Rosman Ballard, David Hightower.
Nice.
And my female character, Brandy Sutton, which, for the record, the UTA did her zero justice at all.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So David Hightower.
Yeah, he originated in the SWA.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, when I first came up with David Hightower, the original concept was okay, he's just a drunk guy from the bar down the street that knows absolutely nothing about pro wrestling.
Fair enough. He's a tough man.
Yeah, exactly. So the funny thing is, he didn't even have a theme song. He literally would just come walking out carrying a bar stool and a 6-pack.
I like it.
So eventually it got to a point where I'm like, how can I take this character to the next level? So that's when I was doing some thinking, and you know me, Mikey. I was doing a lot of volunteer work at the local shelter.
Yeah, we're friends on Facebook, and that's all I ever saw from you was just, shelter pictures. Hey, look at this dog. Look at this dog. You're trying to adopt the dogs and find them homes, and that's something that most everyone who's feted with you knows about you, is that say what you will about you rub some people the wrong way and clash with some people,
please.
But everyone knows that you're a dog lover and a person who dedicates some of your free time to helping them get adopted, and that's commendable regardless.
Yes, I'm an avid animal lover, but anyway, so there was this big towering pit bull named Whiskey. This dog must have had Mastiff.
This was at the pound, or I'm sorry, not the pound, the shelter?
At the shelter. This dog was gargantuan. This dog had to have 2 people walk him. That's how big he was.
And obviously it inspired you to add him to the game.
That's when I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to have Whiskey be David Hightower's manager.
It's a different concept, but we've seen it with the British Bulldogs. We've seen it with the dog kennel from Hell Match.
Well, the thing is, Whiskey actually was getting involved in matches.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yeah. This is dating back to the SWA. At one point, the dog actually casually jumped into the ring, and the referee was trying to tell the dog to get out, and the dog rolled over for a belly rub.
So you have David Hightower, and now he's got Whiskey by his side.
Yeah. Now, the funny thing is, Hightower isn't even the one I had success with in the SWA. Rosman Ballard, on the other hand, he was completely batshit crazy, like psycho nerd on steroids. He did some fucked up shit that involved him setting off tear gas canisters in the arena.
Now we're getting to that Chris Ross stuff I know and love.
Yeah, he got so angry, he set off tear gas canisters in the arena, basically turned the whole entire Fed into a UN disaster.
My God.
Yeah. And basically...
The kind of guy who gets out of his own match by calling it a bomb threat.
Yeah, well, basically, my character... Well, the thing that happened with him was he got injured in a match and had to be put on the shelf for a while. So that was when I focused on Hightower for a bit, and Brandy as well, my mixed martial arts chick, who actually I had a surprising amount of success with. And, a lot of the aspects of Lisil Jackson came from that character. The whole peace of mind, the discipline.
Absolutely.
Nothing you say to me can bother me. That kind of state of mind.
Until you take his hat.
That's a whole entire different story. But yeah.
But you're getting a character behind Brandy Sutton. You're getting a bigger personality behind David Hightower.
And when Rosamund Ballard came back, the commissioner of the Fed decided to punish him by deleting his World of Warcraft account.
Oh, it's on.
My character had a complete and utter, like, it wasn't even a meltdown. It was like he was completely delusional. He was starting to see his World of Warcraft character like it was a ghost. He literally held a funeral in the middle of the game for his World of Warcraft character. In the middle of the ring, singing Sophie B. Hawkins as I lay me down to sleep.
He had a mourning ceremony.
Yes, and you know, he had his WoW count deleted. His rational response was hitting the commissioner of the Fed with his van.
Now, you're a WoW player as well, is that right?
Been one since 2008.
So for you, it's an easy role to play. If someone stole your account, you'd be pissed.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to stuff like that, it's basically you call up the Blizzard tech support and they can get that shit sorted out in no time. But this is e-fedding, you know? Fuck reality.
Yeah, you might as well enjoy the non-limits that come with the game.
Exactly. So Ballard was a ticking time bomb. No one was safe to be around. He was literally chasing the commissioner of the Fed all over the arena with a battle axe at one point.
With a battle axe?
Yeah, literally screaming for the Horde.
I recently had a couple drinks and toasted one for Valhalla, so I'm with it.
Yeah, so Ballard, the thing that happened there was, you know, I had things go on in my life. My grandmother, she was in the hospital, so I had to take a leave. But then I came back, and that was when Ballard won a costume battle royal.
Okay.
To win a shot at the world title. Now, there's this handler in the the SWA. That was actually the husband to Misty, Brandon B. Cool. And I'll tell you what, he's probably one of the most creative motherfuckers I've ever encountered in e-fedding.
Nice.
Number one,
little shout out.
The guy has been blind since the day he's born.
Okay. And
he actually managed to introduce a character that is completely blind and is a pro wrestler.
Wow, that's a different concept.
And here's the thing, you'd think a character like that would be a baby face, but no. The guy won the world title after he threatened to sue the company for discrimination against the handicap.
Well, it's nice that someone in that if they're going to play that gimmick, it's nice that they are personally. It's not nice, but the fact that they are personally affected by the same affliction gives them a different perspective than, say, you or I.
Yeah, and the fact that he was a results writer too really kind of. Now, keep in mind, he's never seen pro wrestling ever. So the fact he was a results writer and actually knew all this stuff was impressive in itself.
So you got him over there, and what happens next with your characters?
Well, my character, he literally got the title shot, and I was in the middle of a feud with this guy named Jack Morgan, who was supposed to be like the most psychotic wrestler in the BAC, or I keep on saying BACW, the SWA, and you know. That's when the whole zaniness of Rosamund Ballard took off. You know, a whole bunch of shenanigans went on. Ballard put a snorting bull in his locker room and all sorts of shit. And the funny part is, Jack Morgan's pick base was Bam Margera, so I had him break out a branding iron and brand a Horde symbol on his butt.
Hey, it fits.
Exactly. But then the match with Ballard and Brandon went on, and Ballard won the world title. So hallelujah! It was a fucking miracle. Keep in mind, Ballard didn't win a single fucking match for a whole entire year.
While he was out, or because he just kept losing?
Pretty much because he kept on losing. It wasn't for lack of effort, and believe me, you can imagine my amount of frustration.
So that didn't work. You weren't working out with that character basically in that Fed.
At first, no, but until Ballard basically went full-fledged cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, let me put it this way, he broke the alignment system.
Why is that?
He didn't fit in any alignment. He wasn't face, he wasn't heel. You can't even really call the character neutral. He was just nuts. But yeah, Ballard, he went on to win the world title, and after that, yeah, we had a massive fallout.
Okay.
Yeah, over the results and missed where someone screwed up in one of my matches, and me and Misty got into a huge fight, and well, long story short, I was thrown out of the Fed, and when I say thrown out of the Fed, I was never told I was kicked out and didn't even fucking know until the next day when I went to log in and noticed I was banned on the forums, and to top it off, she banned me from the entire website.
So you couldn't even get access to the stuff you'd written.
Exactly. She banned my IP address to the website. I didn't even know you could do that.
So you were banned from that Fed, and obviously that was the end there. Where'd you go next?
That was when I went to Boardwalk.
All right, Boardwalk Wrestling.
Fuck that place.
One that was around for quite some time and shut down, I want to say 18, 17, something like that.
When you say around for quite some time, more like way too fucking long.
Well, tell us about your Boardwalk experience.
Well, I think I came in right around when Boardwalk first opened, because I found that Fed off of one of those random, Chris Hart top 100 Feds type deals.
Yeah, they were all over the internet.
Yeah. So I went in with David Hightower because, I was so soured on Rosamund Ballard and everything else. But Hightower still had some enjoyment to play as.
Did his run end successfully, even though the other one didn't?
In Boardwalk, well, let me put this.
Not in Boardwalk, in the Fed prior.
He kind of went off and on. The thing is, the character had success, yes, and he actually knocked out the world champion in a match and won and beat him. But yet it's like, sure, he was winning matches, but there was no push. There was nothing going on with him. He's just sort of there, you know?
He was just another character on the roster.
Pretty much.
Okay. So now we're over in Boardwalk. You're running David Hightower, and let's talk about how you got started and how it went.
Well, I basically, was known for being like the creative guy in Boardwalk, which is natural for me. You know how I am.
Off the wall.
Yeah, I'm the guy that thinks outside the box with everything. So Mike Pettis, the guy who ran Boardwalk Wrestling, he actually decided right away to add me to the writing staff.
Okay.
So yeah, I was a results writer for them. I was basically the guy that was taking like all the hardcore matches and all that.
Makes sense.
And I was judging matches as well, and you know the ins and outs of e-fetting.
For the first time, you were a big part of staff.
Yeah, Well, actually, I did some results writing for the SWA as well, but that's a little neither here nor there.
Okay. So at this point, you're being given more responsibility, though. You're able to judge matches. You're writing results. You're being relied on more often.
Exactly. So I'm writing results. I'm judging matches, and I'm actually having fun for what felt like the first time in e-fetting in a while.
Okay.
And that's when things decided to take a very odd turn. Now, let's backtrack a little bit back to the BAC or the NEWA here for a hot second. In the NEWA, there was a whole... Actually, you know what? No, this isn't even the NEWA. This is back to the CZW. There was this, the whole thing with Alan Fiskus that went down there. Now, there was this girl, Candy Washington. That's probably a name you've heard over the years in e-fetting.
I think they were in UTA for a short time.
I think you're thinking of Jay Justice.
I have no idea.
Well, regardless, beyond the point. Candy Washington. She was part of the writing staff for Boardwalk. Notorious character thief, had like 700 aliases. Even on the Rough Cut forums, she was on the blacklist as, part of the whole entire, she's stolen X amount of characters and however many aliases. They even listed every single AOL username she's used to avoid her at all cost.
It takes some work to get banned like that.
Yeah, to give you an idea as to what I'm dealing with here. So, it comes to Candy Washington versus David Hightower, number one contender shot at the World Championship. Now,
Yes.
Me and Candy, we did our role plays. We fucking hit it out of the park. So, when it came to judging, one person voted for Candy, one person voted for David, and then Mike Pettis stepped in and was like, you know what? Let's call it a draw and have a triple threat at the pay-per-view. Sounds like a reasonable compromise, right?
Okay.
I was perfectly fine with that. Then, Candy Washington was the one writing the match between her and David, and that's when she basically was like, "Okay, so here's the deal. My character's bodyguard is gonna slam Whiskey against the steps and beat the shit out of David, and we're going to walk out." And I'm sitting here like, whoa, what?
Taking liberties with your character.
Number one, I had issues with her trying to hurt David's dog alone.
Let alone dropping you on your ass and leaving.
Exactly. And bear in mind, this is Candy Washington. The character's pick base was Maurice, for fuck's sake. I mean...
And Hightower, the big man.
Well, yeah, fucking Stan Hansen looking motherfucker. So yeah.
How'd the triple threat go?
It didn't happen because fucking me and Candy Washington got into it, and out of nowhere, she basically said, Chris Ross needs to be fired from this Fed. He's a disgusting human being. He gave Alan Fiskus death threats in the CZW. And that's when I basically was like, oh my God, talk about ghost of Christmas past coming back to haunt me. I'm like, oh my God, who the fuck are you? Why do you even know about this? I was legit freaked out. I thought this person was stalking me.
That's crazy that they either knew that person or they were in that Fed with you.
Mikey, this was fucking years ago. Years later. This was I'd say 4, maybe 5 years later after that whole incident even happened.
I know, I'm just saying. I am aware that I was in Fed with someone 20 years ago that I know now.
Oh, wow. Well, small world.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
But yeah, I was legit freaked out. And my whole entire experience in Boardwalk Wrestling, it went downhill from there. I was completely soured on the place, and Candy Washington fucking quit right then and there because Mike Pettis wasn't going to fire me.
Good.
As much as I can say how much of a chicken shit that guy is. Well, let me put it to you this way. It got to a point in Boardwalk Wrestling where, now, when I first joined, he encouraged creativity. He encouraged us to bring the most zany, outlandish characters ever because it was basically in the heart of Atlantic City. A place that, entertainment happens. You get the whole vibe.
Sure, it's like mini Vegas.
Yeah, you can say that. But yeah, that's what I was thinking when I brought in David Hightower and his dog was getting involved in matches. In fact, Whiskey at one point put someone through a table in a match.
How did that happen?
Guy was standing on the apron. Whiskey got a big old bite of rump roast, and the guy fell through the table.
Fair enough.
And Whiskey even has his own finisher, the 5-star dog splash.
Off the top rope, I hope.
Oh yes.
Amazing.
So yeah, the dog got a bit of a notorious following in the e-fetting community. I mean, granted, I wasn't at Peach level. Shout out to Jeremy.
So,
But next thing
that happens is the dog is a problem.
the Fed got split down the middle between the people who want the Fed to be bland, boring, and vanilla, and the people who think outside the box, like me, Zilla, who is actually in Boardwalk Wrestling.
Is that where Robot Pete and Rocky came from?
Actually, yes.
I
Robot
thought so.
Pete. Robot Pete was actually Rocky's manager at the time. He wasn't even a wrestler until he brought him into UTA, but that's beyond the point.
Amazing.
But yeah, that's when, this fuckhead named Gary Mack, who, if he's listening, please do me a favor and go fuck yourself. He basically decided to create this post about how, he wants to get all the stupid shit out of this Fed and all this obnoxious bullshit. And this happened because this guy, Mike Zabala, his name is, another very creative handler who actually had a talking monkey as his manager.
There's all kinds between Robot Pete, the dog, and a talking monkey. You got everything over there.
Oh, that place was a melting pot of personality. And Mike Zabala decided to bring in the Dragon Zord as a fucking character from the Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, I was writing a hardcore match with the Dragon Zord involved, and I didn't even fucking realize the Dragon Zord was the size of a fucking skyscraper.
He played it legit, the Dragon Lord, like the Dragon Zord. It was that big.
Yes.
How does that work?
It was a hardcore match, and I had the fucking Dragon Zord trip and fall over a fucking lifeguard's stand. I had it rise from the ocean and everything.
I can only imagine how great that was.
Yeah, so that was when Gary Mack had a complete temper tantrum, and him and like 5 other writers basically were like threatening to quit if Mike Pettis doesn't ban the Dragon Zord.
That's the one that pissed him off.
Yeah. Okay. And Pettis, being the spineless dipshit that he is, proceeded to ban the Dragon Zord.
Okay, and then everything else comes next.
And that's when I spoke up and was like, just to let you guys know, if you have an issue with whiskey, I'm not budging. And that's when Gary Mack basically said, oh, whiskey is beyond the line of stupid in my eyes. And you know what? I quit right then and fucking there. I was so pissed off at that point, Mikey. I was irrational. I was so angry, I fucking slammed my headset down on my desk and I stormed out of my house and spent about $30 at Wendy's drowning my sorrows. I basically declared my career done in e-fetting right then and there. I was like, you know what? Fuck this hobby. I'm out. Y'all can go fuck yourselves. Y'all managed to piss me off to a point I can't enjoy the hobby anymore. But then, literally about 2 hours later, Ben Halcomb messages me.
Yeah.
Because at the time, Ben was running the, what was his podcast? What was that podcast? Efed Gorillas, I think it was called.
I don't think Ben was running that, but I don't know.
Well, I know he was doing shows on that.
He would appear on the show, but he was doing Wrestle UTA radio and stuff, but that's all I know about.
Well, I know it was one of his radio shows that he was doing, but he messages me and he was all like, oh, hey, Chris, you want to do some promotions for Boardwalk Wrestling on our show tonight? And I basically went off on Ben saying how much I hate that Fed, and Mike Pettis, who's a spineless jellyfish who cared more about Kansas City Royals baseball than fucking his own Fed. I basically went off and Ben was like, okay, dude, here, come join the UTA.
And very quickly you jumped over.
Dude, I honest to God didn't even think I was good enough to even be in the UTA.
But you signed up. David Hightower came in.
I signed up, dude. I think I was literally 2 weeks before you came in.
Yeah, it was real quick because I think we had a match, my second or third match in, and it was like both of us didn't really know the lay of the land yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, my experience in UTA, I had mixed experiences. I had one of the most violent matches I ever had was with Chris Hopper with Hightower.
In Mexico, right?
Yeah, it was Mexico.
I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, where freaking Hopper had Hightower in an armbar where he's hanging off the ropes, and Whiskey fucking came down and clamped down on Hopper's ankle.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, and fucking won the match by strangling him with a freaking chain with a tow truck hook.
When I brought Hightower back to Defiance, I used that tow truck hook. So to this day, that legacy lives on.
Well, that was his weapon of choice.
And it's a cool thing. I mean, imagine a guy walking down to the ring, dragging a tow truck hook behind him. Scary shit.
Yeah, but this is where me and you are going to have differences as far as Hightower goes.
We are.
But, let's not get into that yet.
Okay. So you're in Wrestle UTA.
Yeah, UTA, I had mixed... I think I had fairly decent results because people seem to have enjoyed the character. And then I decided... Then, I also introduced Old Man Hightower into the mix.
Yes, the father of David Hightower.
Oh, God, yes. And I remember Mike Best thinking it was the greatest thing ever.
That's because he was the same age. Hey.
Oh, Lord.
Got you, Mike. All right.
So yeah.
You got Old Man Hightower, you got Whiskey, and David Hightower. Complete package.
Yeah, and the constant badgering of Old Man Hightower, basically, saying you're a failure, boy. And this is after, that disaster of a battle royal Hightower was in, where he lasted literally 3 seconds.
Yeah, I don't remember that one, but I remember Old Man Hightower coming in. Yeah,
that was... Yeah, because I created Old Man Hightower just to get my character out of the cemetery where he was buried.
So, yeah, you had the old man chastising the son trying to make his dad proud, so to speak.
Yeah, and then real life caught up, and I took a leave from e-fedding for a while.
Yep. And then when you came back, you introduced us to a new character.
Yeah, AK probably my biggest regret in e-fedding history.
No.
What do you mean no, Mikey?
I love Lisil Jackson.
Dude, I seriously think the Lisil Jackson character has put a dent, has actually stained my reputation in the e-fedding community.
No, it just created a couple in jokes, that's all. But Lisil Jackson was a great babyface. You run a pretty good run as a babyface, and then unfortunately you got stopped by Dynasty, as people do.
Not even so much that, the Fed fucking closed.
And the Fed closed. I know it was a newer character at the time, but on the wings of a dove, you were on the way up.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the run there, I beat Yoshi. I beat Yoshi, who was a former world champion. I beat Perfection, who was a former world champ, and I had matches with a lot of top tier wrestlers like Eric Dane, and I was actually in a feud with you and Kendricks at the time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was a big fan of Lisil Jackson. I thought he had a lot of potential. And I know that you don't look back on it favorably, but I thought he was pretty good.
It's not so much that
I think it's just the accent and stuff, and people, when you try to write an accent, it's so hard not to become a stereotype, and I think that's just the issue.
That's the thing. He wasn't a stereotype. If he was a stereotype, I would have had him come to the ring with a blunt hanging out of his mouth to Buffalo Soldier, for God's sake.
Undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to get at. It's making the funny thing is the original idea behind Lisil Jackson was basically the fact that Bennett was carrying on about how there isn't a single black character in his Fed that has lasted. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll try something new.
And like you said, you handled a character previously that was a D-Lo round pick base.
Well, yeah, but, that's apples and oranges. And let's be honest here, that character was like a decade ago.
Right.
And so that's when I was, the creative process was going. And I look over, I happen to have, the reggae station on my TV. And that's when I hear, better must come on the wings of a dove. I look over and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
And pretty soon it was your theme song.
Yeah, and that's another thing I probably regret too.
That's probably the regret, because that's the inside joke on the Wings of a Dove.
Oh, sweet Christmas. I'm not going to lie to you, Mikey. I think to this day, I question, what if I just brought David Hightower back to the UTA?
Who knows, buddy? Everything could be different. But Lisil came back. You were on a pretty good babyface run, and the Fed closed up shop.
Yeah, to sum things up, pretty much that's what happened there. And that's when, well, it wasn't so much Defiance, it was more your own UTA, I guess it was.
Yes, Ben reopened Wrestle UTA. He was looking for characters. I volunteered Mikey to be involved, and I would write an Angle character. And a month in, he said, okay, I can't do it. Do you want to run it? And I hadn't run a Fed in 10 years, and I said, sure, I'll give it a shot. And so I think I ran for almost a year, or just over a year, or something like that. And Chris Ross played an integral part. Not only Chris Ross, but I think David Hightower was there for a brief time too.
Well, yeah, because Ben asked me if he could use Hightower as well, and I figured, whatever, sure, fuck it.
And at the time, he was writing all of the angles. Like, it was like an episodic thing where
it wasn't even an EFED. It was more,
it was a storyline. Like, he was writing storylines.
It was more like what you'd see on Splat.
Yeah.
Someone that just writes stories, which, in a way, is kind of a unique concept.
Oh, it's a great idea.
A guy running an EFED all by himself. I mean, I've never heard of such a thing. So, yeah, it's interesting.
So, I was running an Angle Fed, and you were running Chris Ross' character, the boss.
Yeah, that's where the Chris Ross that you know now came in.
And he was a thug and buggin', prankster, trouble-causing guy.
I don't know about prankster, more like, the guy from the streets of Harrisburg that'll just fucking cave your girlfriend's skull in with a chair. High impulse.
Only you, Chris. So, Chris the Boss Ross, the Keystone Killer.
Keystone State Killer, get it right.
My bad. 717 HBG.
Represent.
And it's funny because now, you have your YouTube channel, and we're going to talk about that too. But you have your YouTube channel, and it's almost like you've incorporated parts of your boss gimmick into the way you talk on your show.
Well, the funny thing is, the way I talk on that show is actually a Dungeons and Dragons character voice that I use.
Okay.
Yeah, because, this is going to be like the nerdiest portion of the entire show. I can tell you that right now. But, yeah, I play Dungeons and Dragons, and I like to use a lot of different voices. And, one of my characters is a thieving rogue. So he's all like, hey, what's the problem here? I'm just trying to lighten your pockets. You didn't see nothing. Forget about it. I do that voice way too good.
To me, that is Chris Ross, so maybe it's just a matter of perception.
Well, hey, you know what? The character got over. That's all that mattered in the end.
Yeah, he did pretty well in my version of the UTA, and
well, he actually won the. I had a great feud with Impulse there, and I had a great feud with Jack Harmon. That's who it was.
Yep, High Flyer. Yeah,
Jack Harmon, where Ross and Harmon beat the fuck out of each other throughout a shopping mall of all places.
And then after my run as Fedhead came to an end, you traveled over to Defiance briefly.
Yeah, I was in Defiance for a cup of coffee.
And Chris the Boss Ross came over because we were doing a UTA invasion. When I shut down, we decided to merge the two Angle Feds together, and we would become part of Defiance. And you were recruited to come over with us and be part of Team UTA for the invasion.
Yeah, and that's where Ross was pretty much the proverbial hired mercenary, because he legit didn't give a fuck about anyone other than who was paying him the money.
That's right. That's sweet, sweet Mikey money.
Exactly. And Ross did surprisingly good in that Fed.
Yeah, man, I think you'd do well in an Angle environment.
Well, yeah. Well, let's be honest here. As far as role-playing goes, I'm so over role-playing at this point, because... there's too many egos involved, and
that's because I'm better.
Hurt feelings and questionable judging, and fuck you, Mikey.
That's awesome. So no, I totally get that. And over at Defiance Wrestling, we do Angle the right way.
Exactly. We actually, Yeah, it's basically, more creative liberty, where it's more about, what could tell the best story.
Sure. So you had a cup of coffee in Defiance. You worked out well for the Alliance of Defiance, the UTA.
Yeah, and had a good feud with a good old Gage Blackwood over there.
Yes, basically the beginning of Gage Blackwood. You were one of the first when he really took
where
off.
Ross pretty much made it a hobby to beat the shit out of him every week.
I loved it, man. Gage Blackwood is still a big character in Defiance today, and he just lost the Southern Heritage title. And the character is just as mean and gruff as he was back then, and I remember that feud and that pay-per-view blow-off, too.
Oh, yeah, where Ross and Blackwood beat the shit out of each other. One thing I remember was Mushi Gahara, where he was like this big unstoppable monster, and Ross beat him clean.
Mushi's still there as well, so I think you just need to come back.
Yeah, well, as little of amount of time as Ross was there, he definitely made an impact.
No doubt. So after you left Defiance, you took a break from e-wrestling.
Oh my god, dude,
until almost recently.
Pretty much, yeah, because I was in. I got a new job, where I got a job at the casino, and I didn't have a set schedule, so I couldn't really dedicate myself towards anything at the time. And that's ultimately why I left Defiance.
Sure.
And
life changes tend to cause disruption in e-fetting.
Yeah, so fast forward, I'd say about maybe 2-3 years to current time, where I decided to fucking join Megan's Fed to 5BW. And before you say anything, Mikey, it's not that I didn't want to join Defiance. It's more the fact that in my unique position as an e-fetter, I'm a drifter. I'm just a drifter. In a majority of the feds I joined, I literally was just that guy who walked into a fed with my pants around my ankles. Nobody fucking knows who I am. They automatically assume I'm going to last like 2 weeks before I flake out and disappear. Well, next thing you know, I show up, win a few matches, post a few role plays, and that's when someone's like, who the fuck is this guy?
I'll just say this, Chris. I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed, buddy.
Oh, whatever, Mikey. Hey, let me put it this way. If things don't work out in 5BW...
You're always welcome in Defiance Wrestling.
If things don't work out in 5BW, I at least know I have a home.
You do. Right here under my little wing. Get back under my wing of protection, Chris. Okay, anyway. You've been in 5BW, 5 Boroughs Wrestling. You can find them at 5bwrestling.com, as well as Burrows5 on Twitter. You've been with that. Megan's Fed. They are, I believe it's bi-weekly, or is it monthly?
I think they have like 2 shows a month.
So bi-weekly fed. It's an angle fed as well. And,
yeah,
and you're currently running 4 different characters there.
Yeah, four characters. I handle a tag team, and I handle Amber, who's pretty much my main character, and then I have Rachel, who's sort of like the proverbial thug character to this one stable. When I say thug, I mean like the big brute that pretty much just is a background character and just does the dirty work.
Sure. And so how do you keep 4 different characters?
Well, what do you want me to go over each one?
No, not really. Basically, that's the question, though, is...
how do you keep them unique from each other?
How do you not write the same thing in different languages, basically?
Okay, so Amber, she's basically just this heavy metal. She's just this heavy metal, hardcore, raise hell, drink, and fucking smash up the hotel room afterwards. Out of control rebel who drives a monster truck.
She's a rock star.
Pretty much, you get the picture. Then you have Tessa and Katie. Tessa is your stereotypical airheaded cheerleader.
Okay.
And Katie is a socially awkward Dungeons and Dragons nerd.
And somehow they teamed up.
They're called the Cool Kids, and they're also your current 5BW tag champs.
There you go. Rocking that tag team gold again.
Literally just won the belts yesterday.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, believe me, I didn't even fucking see that one coming. I thought for sure it was... I thought for sure it was going to be the either Team XS or Valedictorians, but fucking Cool Kids won. And I'm sitting here like, well, fuck, I made this team just for shits and giggles.
And what about the final character?
Well, Rachel, she's your run-in-the-mill German, muscle-bound war machine of a character.
So you got 4 different characters, and when you're writing them, you try to write them from 4 different places?
Exactly, because my way of thinking is like, I have one character who's face, I have one character who's heel, and then I have one character who's, like Amber, just out of control, doesn't give a fuck about anyone.
Okay.
That's my mindset when it comes to handling several different characters. I've been doing that since I was in the SWA.
And how has your experience with 5BW been overall, and would you suggest them to others?
Oh, I'd recommend 5BW to anyone, because we do a lot of Twitter stuff on 5BW, where we can develop our characters in tweets and, do character development role plays.
But it is an angle fed.
It is an angle fed, yes.
Okay, very good. And so you got an angle fed where you can develop characters through social interaction, through regular conventional developmental role plays, or through the segments and matches on the show with some direction with the fed head.
Well, exactly. There's plenty of room for character development all over the place.
Well, that's awesome. So you guys can check out 5BW at 5bwrestling.com. Again, that's the number 5, letter B, wrestling.com, as well as Burrows5 on Twitter. They are 5 Burrows Wrestling, based in the New York territory. I like
and that's the thing about, handling multiple characters. It's way easier in an angle fed than, obviously role playing.
Yeah, we have to cut promos every week for multiple characters. Well, very good. Chris, does that catch us up to now?
For the most part, that was quite the path down memory lane.
Well, very good. You ready for these questions from Twitter and the Discord?
Oh, boy. Well, let's, rip it off like it's a Band-Aid. How much time we got? We got about, 40 minutes?
Yeah, we got time. Let's just try to do them somewhat rapid fire.
All right, let's get this party started.
All right. We're going to start off with our old buddy Jay, Mr. Perfection from Wrestle UTA.
Long time no see. Didn't know that guy was still alive.
He's in my stable in Defiance, actually.
Yeah.
So we got, how did Barney the dog get his name?
That was actually the name at the shelter that he had, and
nice.
They named him after the Flintstones.
Oh, Barney Rubble.
Yes, not to be mistaken for the dinosaur.
Okay, does he get upset about that?
Oh, I don't think he likes being compared to a dinosaur, but, he has short, stubby legs, and that's why they named him after, Barney Rubble.
Side note, have you seen the preview for Clifford the Big Red Dog, the live-action movie?
No, but I must see that now.
I am intrigued, so give that a search after we're done here.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
If there was someone other than Colin you would want to die under a tractor, who would it be?
Dude, I have a laundry list of people I'd love to see die under a tractor. Let's see here. Alan Fiskus, Mike Pettis. Let me think here. Misty Rayburn, definitely. All of them can go. You know what, Mr. Batiste, fuck him as well and his drunk ass. They're all a bunch of fucking scumbags.
Bunch of scumbags. I'm sorry you feel that way, Chris.
Yeah.
What's
like I said, I plan on burning a whole bunch of bridges coming on here today.
We love it. What's the delay on Megan and your nuptials?
You know what? Take that up with her. The funny thing is, if Megan actually lived near me, I'd take her out in a fucking heartbeat. I'm not even going to fucking lie to you.
There you go.
You know what?
Mutual interests.
You know what? Exactly. She likes wrestling. I like wrestling. She likes animals. I like animals. I mean, I'd take her out in a heartbeat. Shit, I'm not going to lie to you.
We're going to get a GoFundMe together so you guys can move in together. All right. Who's going over?
Oh, boy.
That's the question. Just who's going over?
Oh, what? Me or what? If me and her?
I don't know. That's just the question.
I don't know what the fuck that means. Who's going over what? If me and Megan get in a wrestling match? I don't think that'd be fair, considering Megan probably would just kick me in the balls and leave it at that.
I thought you were going to say it wouldn't be fair because you dominate, but I guess it's the other way.
Well, I'm not going to say I'd beat up my Fed head.
All right. So tell me why you were so mad that David Hightower was set on fire.
I looked at that question, and I have to say, what the fuck are you talking about? That never happened.
Oh, it happened.
When did David Hightower get set on fire? Because the one thing I remember is he set Doozer on fire.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, because Hightower set Doozer on fire. I mean, unless something went on in Defiance that I'm not aware of.
No. We don't use fire in Defiance. So, okay. So that was just a confusion question.
Yeah.
Boardwalk in 3 words.
Waste of time.
Oh, nice. That was quick.
Yeah, I put thought into that one.
Up next is Health and Fitness Hudson at Hollywood HUD. How many times has Sam Tolson's handler DM'd you about the direction of his juggernaut female lesbian character?
Oh, boy. Give me a second here, Mikey. I'm going to have to take a deep breath for this one. Megan told me I shouldn't fucking even say anything about Sam Tolson, but Mikey, you know me.
This is the Efed podcast. We get the exclusive.
Yeah. Number one, Sam Tolson has never messaged me directly. I don't know the fucking guy. And yes, it's a guy handling the character for anyone that's trying to hook up with Sam Tolson, reality check time.
So,
and
go ahead.
This son of a bitch, you know how it is on Twitter. You've gotten into it with people on Twitter. It's always, talking trash to this character, talking trash to that character. The character development.
Yep.
However, at the end of the day, I'd like to think most people would have enough sense to know their difference between in character and out of character.
But
this jackass decided to go crying to Megan saying that, oh, Amber Rockwell's being too mean to Sam Tolson. Make it stop. Like, what the fuck, you dumb bastard? Why the fuck you even in Efed to begin with? You can't handle it. I hate to inform you, but Sam Tolson is the most boring piece of garbage character since Andy Murray, okay?
Oh, no.
I'm just gonna fucking say it. The character
no.
is nothing but, all she does is post fucking bikini photos of her pick base on Twitter. Oh, congratulations. Your character is a goddamn slut. What? Wow. I don't like the character. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not holding back any fucking feelings here. The character, add Sam Tolson to a list of people who can go fucking die under a goddamn tractor.
Add him to the list.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sorry, but the character is insufferably bland. There's nothing likable about the character. She's just a pompous, narcissistic bitch who posts bikini photos because she's so that into herself. Now I'm just replying to every single one of her photos, all like, congratulations, you cater to neck beards and the socially awkward.
Oh, Chris, this is why I love you.
Oh, I think I might need my inhaler after that.
Amazing.
One.
You're gonna need something for all the heat in your own Fed now.
Oh, whatever.
And just know I have to give them a chance to respond now.
Hey, you know what? If I get fired, at least I know I can go to Defiance.
Brian's listening to this.
Hi, Brian.
He's on his.
I might be coming your way soon.
He's gonna be on his best behavior. Oh, amazing. All right, buddy. We're going to move over to the Discord side of things.
Yes, the Discord, where pretty much it's a melting pot of personalities. Never a dull moment.
Up first is Juice. Justin Taylor. Do you still feel that Colin has no place in this game?
Oh, fuck Colin. I never liked that guy since day one. That guy, he fucking called me a racist for my Lisil Jackson character and basically said that the character's a racial stereotype and we all should be embarrassed because of it. Fuck him and fuck his EC3 knockoff fucking character as well. If I I ever met Colin in real life, there's a 75% chance he'd wind up with a broken jaw.
Amazing. I can't wait. I cannot wait for the feedback to this episode, Chris. I just want to tell you that right now.
Yeah, well, I told you I was going to deliver, and I'm fucking delivering.
You're a one-of-a-kind talent, buddy. All right, up next, follow-up question from Justin. Do you still want to murder him with a John Deere tractor?
You know, the funny thing is, when I first said he can go die under a tractor, everyone overreacted so bad to that. Like, holy shit. It was like, I remember that. It was the celebration after the UTA shut down. It was like you and a bunch of other you yahoos drunk off your asses at like 2 a.m. Skyping every fucking person. Thinking, fine, you're Skype.
I'm more of a Google than a Yahoo.
Oh, fuck off. Anyway, fucking Skyping everyone. You fucking Skyped me like 7 times.
That was Ben.
Well, it was one of you guys. I forget who it was. And, you know, someone was all like, come on, Chris, Colin is here. And I'm like, Colin can go die under a fucking tractor.
And that was it. Then the legend was born.
Yeah, and everyone's then saying that I gave him death threats and shit. It's like, holy fuck. It's like, what am I gonna do? Steal a fucking tractor and drive all the way out to the UK or where the fuck he lives?
You could. I don't know. You're gonna have a hard time in the ocean.
Yeah, really. Figure that one out.
Up next is Meg.
Oh boy.
Why are you a pain in the ass?
Well, you know what? My own mama has been asking that for the last 34 years. So, you know what? If she doesn't know, I don't know. I don't think I know. I am who I am. And you know what? Let me ask you this. Why do you still keep me around?
Why are you a rude ass to Finn the cat?
Because it's her favorite cat, and I love driving her nuts. It's a personal hobby of mine.
That makes sense. That's easy.
Yeah, and besides, a cat stinks.
Naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
Why should I share my Tony Luke's with you?
Because it's Tony fucking Luke's. I mean, it's the best cheesesteak you can get.
That's a word on the street.
Exactly. I mean, fucking hook a fellow Keystone State player up.
Serious questions. What do you want to accomplish in the hobby still?
Honestly, man, it's more or less that I just enjoy writing and having fun and creating storylines that are memorable with characters that are memorable.
I mean, that's commendable. When you've gotten past accomplishments and you're just trying to be involved, that's fun.
I mean, listen, if I win a title or if I win a world title here or there, you know, that's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, what does it mean when people don't fucking give a shit? And that's one reason why I don't like Sam Tolson at all whatsoever, because the character is meaningless. The character has no substance. At least, you know, when I make a character, I want to make the character memorable. And this is why everyone remembers Lisil Jackson or David Hightower or Chris Ross or anyone that you remember, Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, they all were memorable. One had a dog, one was Jamaican and couldn't lose his fedora, one was Keystone Kate. I've been drinking. Keystone State Killer.
And Megan's is now asking me, how did the interview go? And it's still going on, Megan. God damn.
Megan, come on.
Yeah.
2 hours. Next question. Amber versus KPN will be a brutal match. Yes or no?
Will be. The first match they had was a freaking brutal match. The second one, they might have to have 911 on standby.
And you can catch it over at 5bwrestling.com.
Yeah, whenever that match goes down, I'm not even 100% sure when.
Up next is Fuzz Loves Me For Real. This is Lynn's.
That's Lynn's, a.k.a. Mom.
That's it. There's Mom. How is Barney Dog?
Doing what he does best. He's currently right behind me, sleeping on the couch. You know, true story about Barney. Let me sidetrack here for a hot second.
All right.
You know, I used to sleep on this couch, and this dog decided that he wanted to get separation anxiety from the goddamn couch. All of a sudden, he would start whining and crying when I tried to go to bed, and it's like, what the fuck, Barney?
And then you get up, and he lays down.
Exactly. I get up, he jumps on the couch and falls asleep, and I'm.
And
that's
there
when
like,
it was like, okay, so looks like I'm getting a new bed.
light bulb.
A sign that I'm losing control of my life.
What is Barney Dog's best quality?
You know what, man? I'm gonna be honest with you. His best quality is that he's a dog.
Hard to argue. Dogs are great.
Exactly, he's a dog. Dogs are wonderful, man. They're always there for you. They're always happy to see you. Whenever you sit on the couch, dog comes over and just
sits by you and wants your attention.
Sits by you. I mean, you have a dog,
We just got a second one, actually. Just got a Pitsky, a Pit Bull Husky mix.
Oh, well, hey, congratulations, man. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, she's beautiful. She's little, she's about 9 months now, 10 months, and she's...
You'll have to show me a picture then.
Oh, I will. She's got the blue husky eyes. It's great.
Oh, nice.
So, who would win in a fight, Barney Dog, Lassie, or Clifford?
I don't condone dog versus dog violence.
That's fair. Fair answer. Who would win in an eating contest? How about that?
Well, that's kind of an unfair comparison considering the fact that Clifford is the size of a skyscraper.
True that. I don't know. Barney,
but I will
Barney
say
looks like
my
put
dog.
Down the root beer.
My dog does always say. My dog always acts as if he's starving. I swear, I could literally feed the dog, and next thing you know, he's walking around giving me the sad puppy eyes, and you just hear the fucking Sarah McLachlan music playing. It's like, God damn it, Barney, go lay down, give it a rest.
I will remember. No. Do you wish Barney Dog could fly on the wings of a dove?
Man, let me tell you, if my dog could fucking fly, I don't think there would be any food in this house.
Very good. Up next.
So help us all if that dog could open up the treat cabinet on his own.
Up next is DJS. If Buzz Lightyear thinks he's real, how come whenever Andy comes into his room, he turns back into a toy? Please answer. This is someone. It's ruining my life.
Wow, they really do ask anything on this podcast, don't they?
Anything.
Not gonna lie, Mikey, I didn't really put that much thought into that one.
That's all right.
I'll just rule it. You know what? I'm just gonna rule it into Efed logic and say it's fantasy. Reality sucks.
Do what you want.
Exactly. Toy Story is a classic movie, so whatever.
All right, up next. Man, we got a lot of questions. At Highlander 4H, Ron Hall McDonald.
Is that Ron Hall?
Yep. Who was the inspiration behind each of the characters you're using?
Oh, good God. We'd be here for days, Mikey.
Pick a handful.
Okay, you know what? Who do you want to know, Mikey?
I want to know about David Hightower because he's my all-time favorite of yours.
Okay, Tank Abbott.
Nice. That's not one I would have thought of.
Yeah, because, Tank Abbott, when he first came into the WCW, he basically was this guy that in his promos, he even said, I don't know wrist lock from wristwatch, but I can knock you the fuck out.
What about Tessa Whitmore?
Have you ever played the all-female game Rumble Roses?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Do you remember Becky on that game? She was Candy Cane's alter ego.
Okay. I don't remember it that well.
Okay, there was this schoolgirl character in that game called Candy Cane. Her face persona was Becky, the cheerleader.
Oh, that's where it came from.
Yeah, that sort of was the base idea, and then I kind of, made her the dumb, cheerleader gimmick. So it's actually quite comical.
Okay, hit me with Lisil Jackson's inspiration.
I kind of already went over that.
It's got to be Booker T, partly.
Well, Booker T, some Aleister Black, kind of mixed, kind of the whole mixed martial arts thing.
Okay. All right.
No, we were at Ron Hall.
Yep. At Lassiford, how big is Batista's dick?
What the fuck makes you think I know that question?
Some reason every shoot interview in the world gets asked that question.
Well, you know what? Without sounding, gay, I will say it does seem to be packing heat in the groinal area. So, it's kind of hard not to notice.
Chris says above average. At hashtag is your mom hot? Question 1. Is your mom hot?
And, the funny thing is, I actually, braced myself for this question.
Good.
And I love my mom. She's fighting ovarian cancer and all that. And I could easily be that one jackass that's going to raise a stink over this question. But I'm going to go in a different angle with this one.
Okay.
You see, Mikey, I'm adopted.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask this. Which mom are you talking about?
Rick will have to get back to you then.
Yeah, exactly, because my current mom is kind of, in a crippled state, and my adopted mom, I don't even fucking know. As a matter of fact, I don't even know what race I am. I could be black for all I know.
Well, Chris, good luck to your mom.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, she's not going down without a fight, man. She's fighting 100% of the way. Even despite all this, she's still volunteering up at the animal shelter. God love her.
That's awesome. Well, I'm not going to ask you if she's single, so I'm going to move on to the next one. What would be the ultimate match featuring all of your characters at once?
Oof.
It's got to be a Royal Rumble with as many as you got.
Exactly. It'd have to be.
He asked about the 4 current ones, but I'm asking about all of them.
In the history that I've played, I mean, listen, man, I've played Rosamund Ballard. He was a guy that was coming to the ring armed with taser guns, stun guns, beanbag guns, and tear gas canisters.
So who's going over?
Oh my God.
One guy has to beat the rest. Who's going over?
In all honesty, I think Chris the Boss Ross would have to go over, because he's the one character that I think I've had the most success with.
Nice.
Either that or the Hawaiian Phenomenon.
How many cats' butts have you shaved, and when are you actually going to get around to shaving Megan's cat's butt?
Well, let's see here. If Megan pisses me off enough, I'll find where she lives and drive to her house and do it myself. And as far as how many I've actually shaved is 2.
Shaved 2 for the shelter?
No, my one friend, he ran off and got married, so while he was gone, I shaved his cat's butt. He hasn't talked to me since. I don't understand why. I didn't do anything wrong. And the other one, my friend, he has this big puffball of a cat. I mean, this cat is so furry. It looks like it weighs 15 pounds more than it really does.
Yeah.
And he fucking calls me up the one day and is like, do you have any electrical clippers I could borrow to shave my cat's butt?
And of course you did.
And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck, dude? I don't hear from you in months, and this is why you call me?
What are friends for?
Yeah, well, yeah, I got the job done, but it wasn't pretty.
If you had to choose one handler to make the ultimate comedy veterinarian duo with, why would it be ridiculous?
Because he has... Isn't he the one that was contemplating making a character like Dr. Julius Barebottom or something like that?
I have no idea, but that sounds within the realm of Rick.
Yeah, because, we're talking about shaving cat butts, and at one point I wanted to make a character that eats kitty cats and comes to the ring wearing a necklace of cat paws.
That sounds like Rick would be down with that.
Yeah, so I think that definitely was something we discussed in the Discord.
Linz's number one friend is up next. That's Ross. What is your absolute favorite dice?
Dude, that'd be like asking me what my favorite child would be. Do you realize how much dice I have at this point, man?
So your collection is your favorite dice.
Although I will say there's this one set of dice, I call them my murder, death, kill dice, where these dice just look like they're covered in blood.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll have to show a picture of that to you.
Yeah, do it. I'll put it on the Twitter when we do your interview.
Yeah, I'll have to send that picture to you when we're done here.
If Pete Ross were to, this is from Brunk, Dan Ryan's protein shake. If Pete Russo were to roll some of your dice, what are the odds it would come up aces?
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
I literally don't even understand what that means.
Well, up next is Brian, and he's got a question you'll understand. Love the Dice Show. Do you need a producer, and can you pay me more than Mikey?
You actually pay him?
Well, Brian and I are 50-50 partners in all things Efed podcasts and EWTs. So we split the money. Any proceeds we make.
Huh. I actually didn't know that that you actually paid the fucking guy. Good to know. I'll tell you what. I'll offer you a sheet. I'll tell you what. I'll offer him $5 and a sheet of Burger King coupons. How does that sound?
See, Brian, I'm not so cheap now, am I? Got him. All right, up next, John Thompson at TW Combat on Twitter.
Don't know who that is.
If you were ever to combine your characters' names, would you rather it be David Jack Boss Powell or Katie the Hightower Jackson?
How much paint thinner has this person huffed when he asked this question?
How do you prefer your eggs prepared?
Gotta go with scrambled, dude. Either that or having it in an omelet.
What is one question you would ask somebody that you really don't know anything about, but you're just looking to amuse yourself?
So when I'm in a video game and I'm bored, I decide to start fucking with some people, I always ask them, hello, would you like to have your kitty cat's butt shaved today?
Megan would love that.
Yeah.
Up next is Roland. Why you no bring Chris Ross back to Defiance?
Listen, it's not that I don't want to come back to Defiance, but like I said, I'm a drifter. I want to get into new things. I'm playing female characters for like the first time seriously, and I'm just having fun interacting with new people and a new territory.
Is Chris Ross scared of Gage Blackwood?
Fuck no. Chris Ross beat the... I'll tell you right now, if Chris Ross were to come back, Gage Blackwood would piss his fucking pants.
Miss you, Christopher. Heart emoji from Roland.
Well, he's a good guy. I can't badmouth Gage. He and I, we put in a good bit of work when I was in Defiance.
Yeah, I love Roland. He's now on the staff in Defiance, and it's he's a natural.
Well, like I say, if by the time this whole deal is done and Megan decides to shit can me because of what I said about Sam Tolson, at least I know I'm welcome over there.
At Sober David, who scares you more, me, Megan, or her mom?
Why the fuck would I be scared of Dave? As far as between Megan and her mom sounds like a much meaner version of her.
Next question is there such thing as a non-stinky kitty?
Yeah, one that has its butt shaved.
You're big on the butt shaving.
Well, yeah, it's a cat. As a matter of fact, cats stink. They're foul, nasty creatures. I mean, if I were president, I think the first thing I'd do is make cats illegal.
What moment in your career surprised you the most?
Oh, God. I want to say the first time I ever won a world title in any Fed.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Not just a specific Fed, but any Fed in general. It's always a surprise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the big accomplishment. Now I've done it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will say winning the tag belts yesterday was quite a shock because I didn't see that coming at all.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. Up next is the Matt Loaf. Fuck, marry, kill. Mikey, Brian, and Fuzz.
Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll marry you, Mikey. At least you have the Mikey money.
Yes. I don't have to have sex with you or be killed.
Exactly. Just pay me. Just pay me so I can go buy some more dice.
All right. Up next.
You'll be my sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy Mikey. I like it.
For the record, that's probably the gayest thing I've ever said. Not that that's a bad thing, but, you know.
Who you killing?
As far as Brian Fuzz goes, I don't even know. This is embarrassing. Who the hell's Fuzz?
He's one of the top contributors in our Discord. One of my good friends and a guy who like supports the pod a lot. So,
well, he's getting the axe because I don't even really know him.
Sorry, Fuzz. Brian, you're getting fucked.
Well, can't be worse than my last girlfriend.
I assure you it can. Up next is Dan Ryan's Protein Shake. Brunk is back. What's the cringiest question you've ever been asked?
How hot is my mom?
There you go. That's a great way to cap the show. Great answer, Chris. All right, buddy. That wraps up the questions we had from the fans. Is there anything else you want to cover, go over, put over, anything else?
Yeah, just 5EWWrestling.com. Head on over there if you like a different experience in angle fetting. And also, Chris the Dice Maniac on YouTube, my YouTube channel.
Check out the YouTube channel, Chris the Dice Maniac. It's a lot of fun. He is into the D&D dice. He's into all kinds of gaming dice. He's got all kinds of different sets, and now he's got video editing, which is fun.
Yeah, which, I have assistance from my one friend who's actually wants to get into, like producing his own channel and such. So it's
Nice.
practice for him.
That's awesome, man. It looks good, and I'm enjoying the videos, and my kids are kind of into it a little bit, so it's fun.
Well, glad to know I have fans here.
That's right. So, guys, check out Chris the Dice Maniac on YouTube. Check out 5bwrestling.com. Chris, thanks so much for joining us, buddy. This was a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, and I can't wait to hear the feedback from this show.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. All right, buddy, take it easy.
Yeah, thank you, Mikey. It's been a blast, man.
Wow, what else is there to say after an interview like that? I had a lot of fun talking to Chris, but I got to put another disclaimer out there that we do not necessarily share the opinions of our guests, and that those are the opinions of one man. So thanks, Chris, for taking the time to come on. We had a lot of fun, and I'm sure he did too, and we're excited to see what people have to say about that interview. Furthermore, I want to thank you for checking out the Efed Podcast Top 100 Countdown of 2020. We're excited to possibly do it again next year. We'll see what happens. And in the meantime, congratulations to the winners of the contest. Congratulations to everyone who made the list, and congratulations to everyone who even got nominated. It's awesome that other people enjoy your work enough to think that you are one of their favorite characters. So that should mean a lot. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you to everyone on patreon.com/EFED podcast. Thanks to everyone in the Discord for hanging out with us each and every day. If you want to jump in there, check out the Twitter profile, EFED, at the EFED podcast. And you can jump in there at the Discord and hang out with us. If not, hit me up in the message, the DMs, slide in there, and we'll get you a link. Thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of the EFED podcast, where the wrestling is written, but the characters are real.
The Efed Podcast, only on the Atomic Jobcast Network, presented commercial-free on Patreon.